Welcome back, everyone. After a 2-week long break, we're back here racing again with SRA's Division 4 at Circuit de Barcelona. With me on the desk, Bailey, Kish, just us two tonight. How you doing?
Oh, I'm happy to be back. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Happy holidays indeed, but all that aside, we are revving to get straight into racing as we are starting qualifying right now with the silver. So we'll just do a quick little high overtaking zones if you don't mind, Bailey.
Oh, absolutely. I'm always game for this. With this race being more than likely wet, not going to count out the factor of it being dry because we have seen some oddities here and in the previous. But a lot of the overtaking will be done. We'll probably see most of it done in turn one. We're going to be doing a lot of side-by-side action through there would be my guess. Also into turn 10, which is another kind of longer straight. Turn 9, the corner before that, is going to really catch people out, and it's going to let the people behind have that opportunity to overtake. Otherwise, I mean, we could see some side-by-side action through turn 12, but everything towards the end of the lap is very tight, very difficult to make some overtakes. So, yeah, there's a few other places that could be done, but not very, very common to take, but we'll see. It is D4 wet, so.
And anything can happen in the wet. We did forget to mention that. Sorry on our parts. But it is planned to be a wet race today with about a 2% chance of it being dry during the actual race. And qualifying, it does not look to be lightening up anytime soon either. Very, very, very wet out right now.
Yeah, and that's really going to show who's put in the work these 2 weeks off that we've had. The long break that a lot of people have seemed to have needed.
Very long break indeed. Enough to get everyone's hot laps in, but do they have the race pace for it to hold their position? Right now on board with Space Baker will be our first silver driver to set a lap. And if you are new here and you don't know how our qualifying works, we're a little bit different in the fact that we do 20-minute qualifying and we split it right down the middle for our two divisions. So 10 minutes will go to our silver division, 10 minutes, and then the second 10 minutes will go to our gold division. And if you're asking yourself, who's in silver and gold? Well, if you take a look over to the left side of your screen, everyone with a silver number plate will be your silver drivers. Everyone with a white number plate will be your gold drivers. And Space Baker, not putting a too shabby time with a 55.5, but Riggs already showing him up with a 55.1. Definitely an improvement on Space Baker's part, but the fact that we're already setting down 55s and we don't even have a dry line kind of worries me a bit.
Correction, we have a 54.4.
All right, air is just fast.
Yeah, he's almost 8/10 clear on his first lap.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, everyone in the hunt to find them, including Space Baker, who is improving on their time currently, and that line will get drier and drier as we have more cars going, so we should see faster and faster times. Extremely important to get your laps down right at the end, but I do see some weather increasing in rain, so maybe not so good for the gold drivers.
No, we have seen that ourselves with that situation, and it will throw a situation into the race. Say these gold drivers do get the worst track, it'll be kind of chaos towards the beginning here.
Well, a lot of the gold drivers will have to make their way through the silver drivers. That not a normal occurrence in racing for us, at least. Normally we know all the gold drivers around us or the silver drivers around us. We watch Justin putting a drift show on for us, but sadly we'll lose all of their time. But Schaefer right behind them, it's about a 10th up on their time. Still enough time to make up. About a 10th away from air for the lead. Provisional pole for silver at least. But needs to hook together a good lap. Currently not setting the fastest time though.
And one thing to note about qualifying, we do have only 25 drivers on the grid. So 11 of those 25 drivers are going to be the gold drivers. So they're going to have a very, very open track, which means that this track is not going to get dry or have a dry line anytime soon.
No, it will not. During the race might be a different story, but during qualifying, there's gaps in space for the rain to fall and just kind of lay there and puddle on the track. So look to see dry lines form, disappear, go away. But Schaefer's finding the dry line with a 154.2.
Wow.
We are about 7 minutes into qualifying, so you can kind of see a dry line forming just barely. But it is enough to be setting this 54. Shepard's going to jump up into P3 for the time being. Looks like Recton also making huge improvements on their lap. Just started their lap about 0.3 up right now and gaining. Keep a close eye on Mark here. Everyone else kind of improving, not by too much. Robichard also improving 0.5, 0.4 around that area. Everyone else kind of improving by 1/10. If they're not improving, they're not improving by a lot.
And one major thing that these drivers are going to have to pay attention to is avoiding these curbs in the braking zone, because they, just like we had the race at what track was that? Where we had the last wet race?
That was Misano.
Misano. Those same exact curbs, brutal to go over when you're braking. They will launch you.
These curbs are no different here.
Yeah, they're exact same.
Braking on the curb is an absolute death sentence. Gassing it on the curb can be saved, but you cannot put the throttle down aggressively, to say the least.
No, curbs are definitely still pretty viable here. It's just a little more careful when it's this wet.
Yeah, definitely do not use the braking curbs, though, as we are seeing.
No, that's for sure.
Off track. Mark gonna get a little bit inhibited there, so we'll knock down his time a little bit. We'll stay P8 for the time being. Just watch Justin in front of him go up to P6. Return of the legend. Ken Miller is making up on their time. We'll go P8 with a 55.7. Schaefer still holds provisional pole with a 54.2 and is currently flirting with making up time. So Space Baker putting on a show here. Usually isn't this high up in the silver drivers. I know, but must have that wet sense. Be able to put a good lap together. Currently 0.2 up. If they can keep it up, we'll jump them up at least one place. Try to find some more. As long as they stay off that curb. We do have 50 seconds left in the silver qualifying. So anyone that crosses the line now will be starting their final qualifying lap for the silvers. We'll see golds coming out here at the 10-minute marker. Keep an eye on who crosses the line. Space Baker will be getting another lap in, but it doesn't look like they'll need too much of it, as they're still 0.3 up on their time coming here in the final turn. Not the greatest of exits there. Actually bleeds away a good bit of time, but does get a better exit off the final turn. We'll go up 0.3. We'll gain at least 2 spots. P3 for Space Baker, 54.6, and can make up some more time here on their final lap. Looks like Riggs will also get another flying lap. After that, qualifying is done for the silver drivers, so everyone is on their final laps right now. Madison coming across at their last lap. We'll go P13, last of the silvers. A 56.4, not a terrible time, but not good enough to jump everyone. Schaefer not going to set a blistering better time, but we'll set a better time by just a little bit. 54.2 is their final time. Car 357. Robichard will put it P11 for the silvers. Boonstra coming across the line. Not going to be able to make up anything. We'll stay in her same exact spot. And I believe we have a few more out there.
Yep, Schlitz, Space Baker. I didn't think Schaefer actually made it across the line.
Don't believe so.
But he is in the pits now. So, yeah. So, we just got Space Baker and Schlitz, who was up on his time by, I don't remember how much it was, but it was a very decent amount.
Looks like Space Baker had an extremely bad exit out of that turn 10. losing about 4/10 of their time. They're going to be extremely hard to make that up here in these final turns, and coming right up behind them is the pack of gold drivers. Not what you want to see in your rearview mirror.
No, absolutely not.
I believe rain is starting to intensify. Keep a close eye on these gold drivers, see what they can do. Space Baker won't put in any time. We'll just pull off over to the side, and that will end their qualifying. So in your silver, your top 5, Schaefer, Air, Space Baker, Shepard, and Riggs get your top 5 in the silver. I see Donahue is disqualified. We never went over penalties.
I don't remember actually looking at penalties, to be quite honest with you.
We're missing our third person who normally does penalties.
Yeah.
We'll look at that a little bit later.
I can pull it up really quick if
Okay.
we could. Yeah, Mr. Austin Sawyer's out climbing the Himalayas or something.
Casually.
I don't know. Casually, yeah.
No more football
the
still.
only penalty we have this race is a pit lane start for John Donahue.
And that would be why he's disqualified this session.
Yes, that's the only one we have for today.
So that pit lane start could help him.
More than likely.
Depending on how terrible this turn 1 is, but we have high hopes here. So we're on board with Dreebs, your first gold runner, who will set a valid lap as long as they don't invalidate. Currently on track to do so. So I'm going to pick your brain a little bit, Billy. I need your top pick on who will win this race right now.
Ooh, I'm going to go... I don't know. Wet races are so hard to call. Just off of what I've seen this season, I'm going to go with Matt Anastasi.
Mm-hmm. It's a safe pick. Currently leading
Very
in the
safe.
driver's standings right
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of why I went with him. I know Landon Dreebs, one member of the Landon team, has been putting in the work the last 2 weeks, so he's going to be on the chase for a win here.
I do think Dreebs can put it down, but it's a matter of fact if they can have the racecraft in the race to put it up. So Dreebs coming around the set their first qualifying lap. Nothing too harsh to sneeze at, but a time that's good enough for P1.
Wow.
53.4, demolishing the Silver's time by 0.8. And put that in perspective, Lorenzo, who is another pretty fast driver here in D4, is only at 54.2, almost exactly with Schaefer of the Silvers. And Stasi, your pick, coming in P5, 54.6. Going to be a tight qualifying race. Speaking of qualifying, are you going to do a hot lap, sir?
A hot lap, I can try.
Pick a person. We'll take them at the start of next lap.
Yeah, everybody's basically just started their lap.
Yep.
We'll go with Dreebs since he's the farthest ahead of the group. So when he comes around, we'll go ahead and do that.
Yep, we'll keep him in mind. But in the meantime, we're going to watch Lorenzo, who happens to be about 0.3 up on their time. Making quick burning, trying to gain 0.8 at least on Dreebs to see if they can do anything with that. We'll get to the standings later, but as I know now after glimpsing at it a bit, the gap for both team and driver standings from P1 to P2 is, I believe, 6 to 8 points.
Yeah, I think that is correct.
Somewhere around that range.
So yeah, everything's still all to play for.
And even all the way down to P10, essentially. We have three races left in the season. If you count this one, enough for points for about 350 in the drivers. Who cares about that? We'll get to mathematics later. Because Dreebs coming around the final turn for you, Bailey.
He sure is. Well, with this pitch straight being the longest part of the track, it is very crucial to get that last corner correct so you have the maximum speed. Going into turn 1, hit your braking mark. Be nice and very smooth through here, as it is kind of treacherous with these curbs. A couple of sausages. This one here on turn 2 can throw you. He takes a really good line, swings it out a bit, brings it back in, let off the throttle here as their car could completely lock and swing all the way out wide here and get track limits, which is not ideal. But he does a good line there as he is still sitting pole, so he's doing something right. Hit your braking mark here. Kind of double apex this one in a way. Swing it wide and just set yourself up for this one. The next couple corners are kind of tough, as a lot of the time in the dry you want to brake on these curbs, but you definitely don't want to here, as you could die and will do more than just invalidate. So he does pretty good there. Coming down into turn 7. Oh, a little drift there. I think we cursed him. But yeah, he's going to lose a lot of time on this lap. Probably not going to count for this one, but we'll stay on board. Up into turn 9. This one you can take a little curb, just no throttle. On the exit, you could take as much curb as you need. Down into turn 10, where we might see a lot of overtaking as people struggle with turn 9. Hit your braking point. Get that late turn in, hit that apex, set yourself up. Be careful on these curbs. They are pretty slippery in the wet. Some cars are better at taking these curbs. He does just fine with it. This one can launch you. He has a little bit of a slide here. We might see that from a lot of people, as the curb is pretty off camber. This section will be the most tricky section, as these curbs are horrendous to go over, and it is very technical, so definitely going to want to be very, very safe through there as Landon Dreebs comes across the last corner to cross the line. Not what he was going for, but
Not a good lap, but he does still stay pole, and Lorenzo behind him will still sit in P2, but only by 25 thousandths of a second. So Lorenzo has some making up to do. Dreebs needs to defend a little bit more. Cameron coming across the line, 5/10 up on their time. Will put their car P5 with 54.3. That is almost a second off of P1. So from P1 to P5 is about a second, 9/10.
And Anastasi improved by 6/10 to put him up to P3.
Indeed it did. So we are starting to see some traffic starting to form in front of Cameron. Gonna have to back out. Not gonna be able to overtake this car unless the car politely moves out of the way or invalidates.
And I don't know how much more improvements we're going to see, as that line that was there is kind of fading away, as the 11 cars on track right now are kind of struggling to clear it or keep the track and as much dry as possible. But I don't know.
I do believe we are getting a little bit more heavier raining conditions right now. With a minute left in qualifying, can spell disaster for anyone who hasn't set a good lap, such as Scusa or White Scarver. White Scarver actually returning to pits, saying they're done. White Scarver down in P21. Doc, Landon P is in P16. Schaefer from the Silver still chilling in a P4 for the time being, and we have about 40 seconds left in the qualifying session. So everyone will be getting at least one more lap here. A couple cars might not make it to the end. This might be their final lap. Smith, the only one really improving on their time on track right now. Trying to hook something together. Goes a little deep there. Gonna have to put it tight in for this turn. Loses all of their time. And it will be a race to the line to see if they can get another lap in. We'll end up out in the gravel, and that will just be a return to the pits.
We do have a couple people that did make it for another lap, so we'll see if there's any improvement, but I don't have any high hopes.
Scusa, the one who will first end out their qualifying session, not going to be able to start another lap, is making up time here in the last section. Not a ton. Does look like Scusa will just stay right where they are in P23. Not where you want to be if you are a gold driver, especially. We'll sit there. P23. 56.9 for Scusa. Landon P trying to make up any time they can get. It's about a 10th gap for them to gain a position to Miller, but right now Landon P is not being able to do anything. Actually ending up a little bit wide, touching a little bit of the sand, losing a good bit of time, trying to make up anything, just hundredths off of improving right now. Not going to get the best of exits here. I believe that will spell the end of P. We'll just put her in P16, especially with that exit curve. Dreeb's not improving at all, but our big improver right now who needs it is Lorenzo. Was up a 10th on their time. Slid out a little wide on that turn, lost it all. So looks like Lorenzo will be sitting to P2. Dreeb's not able to make up any time as well. We'll sit provisional P1 for the time being. Anastasi is going to go off and they're qualifying. No one making up any time whatsoever. Ruzik about 7/10 down, so won't see any improvement there. As we cross the line, this will end out qualifying. Ooh. This green parts of track extremely slippery. Good job, everyone, for keeping it out of the wall.
But what we saw.
So your top 5, Dreebs, Lorenzo, Anastasi, Schaefer, and Cameron for the race as they will all race down to the front of the line. Does look like it will be wet for the race. It seems like wet all the way through. Medium wet will be your race today, and does look like conditions will worsen over time. Not what you want to hear, so everyone put a little bit more tire pressure in your tires while we wait for them to get their setups all ready to go. We will just go over some team standings and driver standings here. So since our boy Sawyer is not here, I'll take over. Paranoid
Okay.
Racing going to be leading the charge overall with 590 points. Not too far behind him are the Landons with 581 points. Just a 9-point gap between first and second. So everything to play for here. I believe both Landons are on track, and both Paranoid Racers are on track as well.
Yeah, the Paranoid boys are sitting very, very well. Although Dreebs does have that pole position, but
He has a lot of ground to make up here.
yeah, he does. Landon P has got to help his teammate here to hopefully keep the lead going out of Spain.
Not too far behind, Baseline Racing, Romeo, Stardust Motorsport, Ghost Rider Racing, Ram Ranch, Ghost Rider Racing, Not So Astonishing, and Team Stardust aren't completely out of it. Can have some good races, can make up all that gap. Everything's still to play for here in the last 3 races as far as team standings go. The max points is about over 200 you can get here on a good day.
Yeah, and with only 25 drivers today, there's a lot of points on the board
A lot
available.
of points on the board. Speaking of points, we'll head over to the driver's standings, which is looking even closer. Matt Anastasi and Zoid, sorry, pronounced that wrong. Zodi Fade with 361 to 369, another 8-point gap there. And correct me if I'm wrong, Fade is not here tonight.
I did not see Zodi Fade anywhere on the board.
It's a big chance for Anastasi to pull away here. Waiting in the wings, though, who can undercut and absolutely take out these front runners. Scott Smith and Landon Dreebs and Zooch. Won't believe Zooch is here either. But Dreebs and Smith, if they get a good race today and Anastasi fumbles the bag, could be seeing themselves on top.
And Zodi Fade could potentially lose up to 5 positions if this race is mathematically not with him, shall I say.
Fade is watching. Cross your fingers. So you have a lot to wait for as everyone gonna start rolling, warm up their tires a little bit. As much as they can, at least in these wet condition. Brakes are the real thing that you want to look out for. 1 hour race. Track's not too hot. We have a 23-degree air temp with 28-degree track temp. These are all in Celsius, by the way.
And this track looks extremely wet.
Yes, and it's not going to get better according to our radar over here. Wet is here to stay. Possible increases later. Just got to hope that the dry line forms. I saw a car stopped. Car of Logan Schaefer came to a halt at turn 3, trying to race their way back up to their position. If they do stay out of a certain range for a certain amount of time, they will actually get returned to the pits. So Logan absolutely trying to charge their way all the way up. Looks like they will make it back to their original position. Little heart attack there for Schaefer.
A little bit. Don't know what happened there, but
Good
get
move.
the jitters out now.
Yep. Might as well not have it for the start. And if I look in chat right now, I see Fade is watching on.
Oh boy.
Fade did not get out of bed for 3 days, but he's on the upswing, must be on some kind of sickness. Hope you get better, Fade. Hopefully the race falls in your favor. But a big one to miss here is a lot of points are on the board.
Yeah, D4 has had some sort of virus. There's a lot of people out sick this week.
That doesn't just stop at D4. I believe other drivers have been a little bit more under the weather after the holiday breaks. It happens.
Couldn't handle the alcohol.
Too much eggnog in their system.
Too much eggnog.
Yep.
Dang it, Santa.
Drivers rounding out the final turns. We'll start going double file here. We'll try to focus on the front of the grid in your main camera, your picture-in-picture window in your bottom right-hand screen. We'll try to capture the back part of the grid. Leading the way, Dreebs, Lorenzo in the front row, Anastasia and Cameron in the second row. See who can get a good start as we come down here to the final corners, penultimate corners. Dreebs is absolutely crushing away just on the warm-up lap. One rounding the final corners, and we should be good to green here soon.
Oh, we were a little ahead of the timing mark, so we're all bunching up again.
We are trying to get everyone onto the straight before we throw the green flag, but we should be growing green here now. Hour has started down. Drive through 4. Ruzic, cars coming out, trying to go 3 wide. Everyone's sticking 2 wide for the time being. Cars poking their noses out to the inside, to the outside. Lorenzo get a good getaway on Dreebs. Lorenzo will actually take P1 in this place. Dreebs driving down on the inside. We'll be able to hold it. Not going to be able to hold the position. Lorenzo will take over P1. Side by side, they still go. Dreebs coming back on the run. Not going to be able to do it. We are 3 wide in the back, as you can see. Everyone keeping it relatively clean here. Still 2x2 air on the inside. Is going to be able to get past Cameron, it looks like. As our leaderboard starts going out of whack. Spacebaker trying to make up this position once that...
Oh, and Ken Miller's off. Ken Miller is off.
Not what you want to hear, as positions are being given away as these gold drivers are trying to thread through all the silver drivers. No contact here, at least up in the front. This looks like Lorenzo and Dreebs are having a battle of their own. Dreebs did get P1 back, but Lorenzo trying to go down on the inside. Won't be able to do it. Locking up on the brakes is Ruzic, I believe that was. On the air, will slot right back in line. Everyone else coming back in line for this dreaded turn 9. Dreebs and Lorenzo will continue to bow out. Everyone filing in line. Nothing really going away. White Scarver down on the inside of Boonstra. Boonstra will just give that position away for the time being. Right behind them, White Scarver trying to come in. There is contact on the cars.
It was P and Doc a little bumping, but they've been side by side since the start of the race, so.
Good, clean racing. And now they're side by side. Oh, big contact, big wrecks. That's a lot of damage. Cars needing to go slow through there. So we might have seen some race-ending collisions there. Let's try to get a replay on that one if we can.
Yeah, there was
And P just gets turned sideways, and 1, 2, 3, 4 cars not expecting that collision to happen.
And there are some cars coming down pit road, so a lot of damage already given out.
Is to be expected. We have normal pit window this week as well, so we do not have the 40-minute pit window now. So everyone will have to pit again if they're pitting this time. P down on the inside. Not going to stick it. We'll just end up giving that position to Unda. P opting out of going for the pit. We'll try to stay out with that damage. We'll see how that fares. Gap ahead from Dreebs to Lorenzo has jumped up. Schaefer and Cameron side by side. Schaefer is going deep. Cameron pulls a switchback. We'll get the move done. Tries to squeeze Schaefer to the outside. We'll get the squeeze done. But side by side, they still go down here into an unfavorable overtaking zone. Still side by side. Schaefer is able to get the better of that, but we'll have to go into turn 9. There's contact. Schaefer off into the wall. Cameron will have to carry on, but no damage coming from Schaefer, the unfavored party in that matter. Trying to rejoin the track. There's a slippery grass out there. Unfortunate for Schaefer. Cameron holding their own. We'll keep the position in P7. Everyone else sliding back in line for this final section. Doc all over the back of White Scarver. Unda is almost getting dove down on the inside by PP, trying to make up any position that they lost in that collision. Needs the points for their team and the position in the driver's standings. So any kind of gain is a plus for them. We're now on board. Ruzic watching in. Man of the hour with the drive-through penalty.
I think he was just out of position on the start.
Out of position, too much speed. Billy, what have you been witnessing as we're 5 minutes into this race and action has yet to cease?
Yeah, it's just been bumper to bumper since the start. Couple of slip-ups, a lot of people drifting. I've been watching Austin Whitescarver a little bit here, and he's struggling a little bit, but he's not the only one. So the track is definitely pretty brutal. Overtakes are possible, position gains are possible, so nothing is written out of the picture currently.
Cameron tried to go down on the inside of Justin, not going to be able to get that move done. We are starting to see kind of a dry line forming, barely, not enough to make it safe, to say the least. So drivers still slotting in line.
Oh, and Whitescarver goes around. Treacherous turn 7.
Actually stalling out there.
Yeah.
He's going to sit there for a while because we have a batch of cars coming up.
Yeah, that's a brutal one.
Schlitz is also in the wall a little bit later in the track. Boonstra looking to the inside of Doc, not going to do it. She'll just follow right behind. That McLaren kind of good here in this Sector 3, but Sector 3 happens to be the very dangerous and difficult overtaking area. Gap in front is a 2nd and 3/10 from Lorenzo the Drebes. Lorenzo minding their time. They still have 54 minutes left. We have someone into the pits, it looks like.
Ruzic, I believe, service drive-through.
We'll do that, and then they will have to pit again for their mandatory pit stop. Shepard now going to have to fend off Scott Smith behind him. Smith putting their nose out there. Doesn't look to be doing the move. We'll slot right back in line, but Smith is ready to go on that overtake whenever they can. There's 2 Ghost Riders behind Riggs and Smith in line, ready to take Shepard whenever they can.
Unfortunately, not on the same team either, but
just fellow competition. Justin all over the back of Space Baker once by, needs those points for Team Idaho. What a name.
Honestly, it's like the best place on earth.
Formerly Team Ohio in Division 5, moved up here to Division 4, decided to upgrade states to Idaho, so.
You call that an upgrade?
Well, you go from nothing to potato, so.
This is basically nothing. Just some carbs.
You don't like potatoes?
I love potatoes.
Exactly. All over the bumper is Space Baker, actually almost touching Space Baker, having to let off the throttle a little bit. Really needs by. Justin is so much faster here in Sector 3 at least than the Lexus in front of him. We'll have to get dangerous, make some moves up, but Space Baker not looking to get the best of exits. Can Justin capitalize here? The back end sliding out of the car, but is keeping it together. Space Baker almost bending the car as Justin will go around the outside of this. Spacebaker stuck in the wet part of the track. Not going to have the grip down here into the braking zone, but that Lexus power is coming back for him. Justin coming down on the outside. Spacebaker is able to get the inside. Justin just going to slot right back in. Not going to be able to do any switchback moves here, but we'll just be all over the back Spacebaker, just letting him know that he is there. Now it's Donahue on the outside going for Robichard. Will not get the move done. That outside here does not seem to be the wave. Donahue making up a lot of positions since P25 is P18 now. Trying to get past Robichard for P17. And I see another drive-through on my screen of Schlitz.
Oof.
Speeding in the case. Speeding in the pit seems to be the case.
Yeah. The one thing I thought turn one would be with the most popular overtaking zone, but usually in the dry, holding that outside line, you usually set yourself up good for turn two. But with it being so wet, holding the outside line with speed is very difficult.
Yeah, it seems like people on the inside are just able to kind of put their nose down there where just get enough space.
Yeah.
Justin got a little contact there, I think, from Cameron. Will actually end up giving up the position. Unsure of what happened there. Maybe someone too hard on the brakes. And Cameron actually going sideways.
Oh, hold your brakes, bud.
Justin unable to react in time. Will end up just going straight into the side of him. Get a better angle from the helicam here. Sideways he goes. Justin trying to slow down. Is able to get through, but has damage guaranteed on that nose of the car, which in the rain could be everything.
Could be a loss of downforce, could be a loss of grip.
Seems to be gaining on Shepard, though. Right on the bumper. Not going to poke their nose down on the inside. We'll just stay behind. BMW was primed and ready for that, but Justin might not feel confident in this car as his back end is sliding everywhere right now. Might have a little bit of rear damage as well. Not doing so great. Smith suffering overall from this as well. I'm gonna have to fend off against Doc here soon.
Yeah, Doc is on a charge.
Seems as we have lost a driver.
Uh-oh.
It's
And
Farrell.
it wasn't Schlitz.
It was not. Farrell around the outside. Not going to be able to stick it. Ends up in the gravel. That fight will come to an end. Opens the door for P to come up here and take P18. Not going to do so, though. You are watching the battle of Justin Smith, Doc, and Riggs in your picture-in-picture. Side by side, they go. Smith down on the inside. Not going to be able to do it, or does he do it? Doesn't look to get it done. We'll have to slot back in line. Just wait. That is a mighty fine battle you got going on over there, Bill.
Yeah, it's quite spicy. There's a lot happening.
Is currently our closest battle on track. P actually down on the inside of Farrell. Is able to complete the move, but has to hold the outside. Farrell's now in the grass, which will give the position to P and Ruzick. Farrell will just have to suck it up. Ruzick looking to the inside of P. P's ending up going wide, so that will now give Ruzick the spot. He not trying to let him go out, but Ruzick will be flooring it away. How's your battle going there?
It's a little chaos. Just to confirm that we do have 25 drivers again.
Interesting. Side by side they go into that turn.
Doc looking to sneak up in there. Try and gain it as much as he can. Uh-oh. Oh, that was close.
Riggs went real close. is able to keep it clean side by side down here into an unfavorable spot. We'll just slot back in line. Actually peeking their nose down on the inside. Won't be able to hold it, but will force. I believe that is Smith out wide. There was contact. And Riggs will get away fine. Smith is able to hold. Still in the fight here.
Lost 2 positions, though, unfortunately.
Sadly, has opened the door for Boonstra as well to get in on this battle.
She is go. Oh, I thought she was going for it there.
Not the greatest place to dive when you're that far back, to say the least. Can definitely catch a lot of people off guard. White Scarver's now coming up on the back of Unda. To the dreaded turn 9. Unda taking a little bit of that inside curve. Not really favored. Not using all of the track either. White Scarver. There is contact between the 2 cars twice.
Oh,
they collide 3 times down the straight.
What is going on?
Unda missing the braking point. White Scarver kind of missing the braking point. Is able to keep it on track. Unda will rejoin in front. Rubbin's racing here. In SRA, it seems like.
And Scott Smith going down the inside of oh God, Doc, sorry, but he backs out.
Speaking of Doc, I believe you were talking about
Cameron.
Schaefer.
Cameron. As a Cameron.
One of the 2 there.
Sorry, it's
Doc
Cameron.
is up ahead.
Yeah, they look the same.
Catching on Justin. Sorry to expose you.
That's okay, it happens. It's my first time.
We all fumble words, you know. It was a good bit of shoutcasting. It was good. Doc poking down the inside. Justin's having none of that. Closing the door. Doc's actually sliding his car out. We'll be able to hold his car together, but losing mass amounts of time off of that attempted dive. Not the greatest place you want to be in. Down here on turn 9, didn't look like Justin had the greatest launch. Doc not going to be able to catch up, so we'll just sit here. Scott Smith and Schaefer side by side. Schaefer overtaking Smith. We'll get that move done.
Scott Smith just had a compromised exit of turn 9, which is what I predicted to happen to a lot of people, and Schaefer just benefited from it.
One of many to come, to say the least, as we have a yellow flag in the pits, apparently. And now Ken Miller's in a yellow flag off the track in the final chicane. We'll be able to get back on relatively cleanly. Still stay in P23 for the time being. But there's a pack of cars coming up on them. I believe those are people on the lead lap. Miller is about to be lapped by a couple more cars. Blue flags already coming into play. Let's say your battle seems to have fizzled out, but it definitely has not.
No, it hasn't. I've just been kind of jumping around here. There's been so much more significant struggle, even though the track does look like it's starting to form a line here.
Oh, and down on the inside, Doc goes. That's a very aggressive dive. We'll actually get the move done. Good for Justin to avoid that collision. He was very deep on the brakes. Justin now will have to slot back in line. Just hope, try to follow, see what they can do. Doesn't look like they will be doing anything for the time being unless they get an extremely good exit here off of turn 9. They look a bit smoother. Does have the slipstream here. Not going to be able to do so. Still 310s back. Braking on the curb. Could spell death sentence. Is able to stop the car. It will continue on. Robichard and Ruzic side by side here. Up to turn 9. No one's backing out. Side by side they go. Ruzic, Robichard keeping it clean. Robichard down the inside. Ruzic still coming down on the stretch. We'll end up getting in front of Robichard, putting their nose out on the inside. Not going to be able to break late enough. Ruzic will complete the move. And they have P18. Or P17, sorry. Justin's still about 5/10 out here from Doc. Hasn't really lost the pace. Doc is making time up the Space Baker though, so this could spell for a three-way fight here. Justin's back end is getting all out of sorts. Pit window will be opening here in about 7 minutes, so look for pit strategies to come into play. Dreebs has just been able to hot lap 4 seconds ahead from Lorenzo currently.
Yeah, we don't talk about the leaders too often, just because this is usually the outcome. We have one guy that just blazes away, and seconds kind of in no man's land. Then you got the group from third and beyond.
It is upsetting, but the mid pack is what we need, as Space Baker making a mistake and Doc is able to capitalize. Opening the door now for Justin. Space Baker could be at fault here for a 2-position loss if Justin can get a good enough exit. That Lexus engine will outpower, especially in the draft. One poking their nose out here. We'll just keep in line in turn 10. Justin wants to get on the move. Space Baker wants to kind of ease the throttle in. Nothing coming from this battle yet, but we are still very tight in. Gaps are starting to form a little bit everywhere as we inch closer to this pit window, as that is normal. It happens. We just try to not make it 5 seconds.
Exactly.
Space Baker not getting a good exit out of that final turn. Water's starting to puddle up here on the front stretch a little bit more than what it normally is. The dry line is still kind of there. Justin carrying so much speed through that turn 1. Trying to hold the car together. It's a little bit wiggly, but is able to keep it. Staying in the fight for the time being. Doc floating out very wide. Might touch some of that wet patch. Might open the door here for Space Baker to come in on the inside. Not going to do it. Cameron has been yellow flagged. Side by side with Scusa. They go right now through turn 3. Cameron will get that move done, it looks like. Scusa on the charge back on the outside. Won't do it. We'll slot back in line. Donahue trying to get back in it. Trying to reenact the reverse of the fall of Donahue he's had for the past couple weeks. Scusa is missing their breaking point off into the grass. Gives that position over to Donahue. It is the rise of Donahue now.
Let's go!
Coming all the way from P25, P13 is their position.
He had that pit lane start.
Not sure if that helped them in the end, but however it did, it's making up time now. Justin still on the back of Space Baker here. Not giving up, just 5/10. Space Baker starting to lose Doc a little bit. Could spell disaster for him, as Justin will be extremely fast in that slipstream. As long as he can keep the car together, he seems to be a little bit wiggly here through Sector 3 right now. We're now set up with a 4-way battle for P12. Cameron on Donahue on Scusa on Schaefer. Scusa missing their breaking point again. Just letting Schaefer by. We'll slot right back in. We'll kind of stay in the fight here, but mistakes like that can't keep happening.
No, one of those mistakes will turn into a catastrophic mistake.
Will eventually go into the back of someone, or even worse, just damage your own cars. Donahue going down on the inside, almost getting 3 wide with a car exiting the pits. Donahue will complete that move. We'll have the preferred line here in the turn 2. Schaefer trying to come, or Cameron trying to come back, won't be able to be let in. Donahue closing that door, but we'll run a little bit wide there. There's a yellow flag for Ruzick. They are off. The grass doesn't look to be anything terrible or damage from what I can see, so we'll just slot right back in line. Now Donahue begins their charge, the Boonstra. Not an easy one. 6 seconds ahead. Pit window O's open in 2 minutes and will be 10 minutes long. Everyone will have to come in and refuel at least 1 liter. Dreeb's still 4 seconds ahead of Lorenzo. And then Anastasi 13 seconds behind Lorenzo. Schaefer coming into the mix on Cameron. Blue flag shenanigans happening right now. Schaefer not going to be able to complete that move. So Cameron will have to wait to fend off on the front stretch. Ooh, taking a little too much curve there, Cameron. Not going to be good for your exit. This is Schaefer's time to now come back at this. Try to tuck into the slipstream, but that McLaren power does not seem to be working to what it needs to be. 4/10 is the gap coming down here, the pit straight closing, but doesn't seem to be closing fast enough. So we'll just slide right back in line. White Scarf has a yellow flag. That looks like damage.
Yeah, he's been struggling all race. He had that off at the beginning. He's just been struggling with this track, yeah.
Gassed it too much up on the curb. Doesn't get any damage, so I was wrong on that. My eyes could be deceiving me from that amazing livery.
Or the car.
Schaefer going side by side with Cameron.
Oh, no.
Schaefer, contact is there, and Schaefer is spun out. Try to get this in helicopter cam. Trying to go for the inside. Saw a tiny gap there. Didn't look to close relatively quickly, so if we're gonna have to get right back on it, we ain't stewards, so we cannot really comment on what was right and wrong. But pit window is now open for 10 minutes. Justin's still in that charge to Space Baker. White Scarver, yellow flag again. There's actually another car off as well. White Scarver just missing their braking point. And it was Unda who also missed the braking point in unison. Fortunate turn of events. As Justin will get past Space Baker just because Space Baker has gone into the pits, taking their pit a little bit early. Didn't feel like defending anymore.
I was going to say, we might see some of these people from what was P7 to about P11, P12. Probably pit early just to try and get any of the clear space in front of them, just so they can try and get some undercuts. But Space Baker the only one pulling the trigger, so
some might call me crazy here.
You're crazy.
Okay, thanks. Normally when you're in P1, you want to wait till like the very last minute to take your pit right now. Normally that's when all the gaps form and you can kind of get in a little bit safer, plus everyone shuffle back a position at least. Would I be wrong in saying that Dreebs and Lorenzo should think about pitting right now with how much space we have right now in between cars?
Potentially. I mean, they'll still come out at least fourth.
I was unsure of how long the pit stop is.
I don't remember how long the pit stop is. It's at least 30 seconds.
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah, they'll come out P5, P6, especially because they're both still lapping at high 54s, low 54s here, and say they come out behind those guys. Those guys are doing a second to 2 seconds a lap slower.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe not the move, but what is the move is Riggs trying to make a move on Justin to get by. Not happening, and we have another drive-through penalty for Cameron from exiting the pits. As Martin Riggs will take their pit stop now instead of fighting their own Ghost Rider. Make sure you stop that car early enough, Riggs. Don't want to get that drive-through. And right in behind Scott Smith. Drivers take their pits. Farrell coming up here on Robichard. Trying to make up any time, any space after not the greatest start for them, to say the least.
Oh, and Justin has a yellow flag.
In the pits.
Unsure. Nope. I don't know what happened.
Intriguing.
Go back. He had a yellow flag on his name for some reason.
Seeing your picture-in-picture window. Oh.
He's lagging.
He is having some connection issues, it seems like. Looks to be keeping the car on track, though.
Yeah.
Not terrible.
And that gap is ever so slightly coming down from Dreebs and Lorenzo.
It is. Which
as it goes up.
Seems like Dreebs seems to be the faster car in Sector 2, but Lorenzo has kind of cooked it in Sector 1 and 3 now, thanks to that Ferrari.
Yeah, he's been putting in 2 to 4 tenths a lap quicker the last 2 laps here, 2-3 laps. So he's peeling something back. He's found something.
Speaking of peeling back, Donahue P9 right now, all over the back of Boonstra now. Donahue trying to peel back whatever he can to get by Boonstra. Doesn't look to be happening. One of them might pit here.
Donahue should definitely take advantage of this. Try and get in early, get that pit.
I
I would have stayed out.
I would have stayed out then. I would have done opposite.
Yep.
Just me, though. Just me. Donahue trying not to break all the way into the back of Boonstra. We'll get in line, come down pit road. Now Space Baker's coming up on P, and just what P needs is someone else passing him. After terrible qualifying, P goes down to the pits, gives that space for Space Baker. Recton now coming up here on Ken Miller here in P23. Does look like most of these people have served their pit stop, so one should be thinking about pitting at least back here. The leaders are starting to catch these two, so look for Dreebs and Lorenzo to start looking for pit options instead of being held up by these cars.
And Scusa heading off here, a little yellow flag action. Gonna go back.
Saw a Ghost Rider almost collide with the pit wall.
Yeah, he just kind of lost that in turn 4 there. But also a little pit update. Donahue did come out ahead of Boonstra.
Wow.
So
might have had some damage.
Potentially,
well, it was very close that even a good exit off of pit lane would have been suffice enough. But you know who's not having a good pit time?
Who's that?
Landon P. Stop go 30.
Oh no. We are down to 24 drivers now.
We are down, and P might make that 23. Stop go 30 is an absolute killer for races. We are on board with Schaefer trying to catch Robertson. Nothing happened. Donahue's in the wall.
Oh no.
It's gone so good for Donahue. Turn 9 victim. Gassing it up too much. Ooh, that's going to be some decent damage.
Yeah.
Donahue has already taken their pit. I believe that was actually their outlap of their pit.
That is correct.
Not what you want to see.
Quick little research. Mr. Schlitz is our first retiree of the race. So he's no longer with us.
Donahue will suffer through the pain and the damage and will continue their race. Hopefully we won't be coining the fall of Donahue again in this race. So keep an eye on him. Shepard rejoining behind Donahue? My thing's all out of whack.
Yeah, Justin came up behind Donahue. So Justin did lose a little time somewhere.
Not what you want to see either. We do still have gaps everywhere. Schaefer is probably the closest battle right now because P is going into the pits 2 minutes left in the pit window as someone spinning off. Robichaud in the final turn. Gassing it up too much on the curb. Is able to keep it out of the wall. I believe that's Anastasi and Dreebs in the pit right now.
Yeah, Dreeb's in the pit. Lorenzo elected to stay out.
Yep, and Lorenzo is about to catch this blue flag traffic. Spells terrible things for Lorenzo, great things for Dreebs, possibly good things for Anastasi here.
Yeah, the gap from Anastasi to Lorenzo was about 19 to 20 seconds, so gonna need a big prayer.
Yeah, but I will say Lorenzo is about a second off of their fastest time right now because of these blue flag cars in front. They do not look keen to get out of the way, to say the least.
Which they do have an entire lap to let the blue flag go through.
But they are not going to opt into letting by on the straight. We'll just stay right in front. Fortunate for Lorenzo. Hopefully they can just take a splash and go pit stop here because that's what they're going to need.
Yeah, Dreebs came out, had a really good pit stop, and has been behind no traffic. He is catching, I believe that's Robichaud. No, that is Farrell. Sorry, that is Farrell.
Lorenzo's
But
gonna
yeah,
have to cross fingers. They go into the pits now.
just has to make sure he hits the line.
No, stop, go 30.
That stop go 30 will do more than just lose you a couple
Doc's down on
seconds.
the inside, very deep on the brakes, almost creating a collision with the air. Never being good enough to slam a little bit harder on the brakes to let Doc at least go through. Doc, another extremely late break into that same exact turn.
Dreebs actually almost collides with Farrell as the blue flag there. Losing a little bit of time. Might help Farrell, but Farrell was behind that blue... Or not Farrell. Lorenzo was behind that blue flag for what seemed to be an eternity.
Lorenzo is on the move just now, so I believe Dreebs will catch him.
Yeah, Dreebs is on the straight already. Let's see, it does fly by right now.
Yes, we'll get the flyby. I believe Lorenzo does kind of shorten that gap just a little bit as long as he doesn't get passed by these blue flags.
That she doesn't, luckily.
Luckily. So that gap has shrunk to now 2 seconds now is that gap. Lorenzo does have to get those tires a little bit warmed up. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on that gap. There's not a lot of other gaps that are happening around on track. Cameron behind Lorenzo trying to get past Farrell. So keep an eye on that. Doesn't seem to be doing anything. Cameron flashing their lights wants Farrell to move, but nothing's happening. Go for that move. Either is just a game of slide and line right now as Cameron getting the back all wiggly, trying to be extremely aggressive here out of turn 9. Needs a good run to make up time. They look a lot smoother than Cameron's. Is approaching a lot faster. Will poke their nose out down on the inside. Is later on the brakes as well. Holds the inside here. Is going to keep it. Squeezes Farrell all the way to the outside, and Cameron actually gets a little squirrely, which leads Farrell back into the race. Farrell now all the way on the inside. Cameron trying to hold the outside. Side by side they go. Farrell's now in the grass, and we'll get this position over to Cameron. Wowza.
Bit dicey.
Now White Scarf is going to overtake Robichaud here because Robichaud was off in the grass. Robichaud going all the way down the inside, going to try to hold off that position. White Scarf down the outside is able to outpower Robichaud, so that position will be his down here in the turn 1.
Also, White Scarver representing with that Audi power.
Audi power spells good news for us. What doesn't spell good news is the fact that he's in P17.
Oh, we weren't going to talk about that, but here we are.
All gaps have kind of seemed to subside for the time being. About 22 minutes left here in the race. Good race to come back to after a 2-week break for the holidays. We're getting absolutely blistering pace. Dreebs deciding to set a fastest lap of 54.2. This is absolutely blazing. Lorenzo is about 3 seconds behind now, so Dreeb's just finding this this pace that Lorenzo cannot find.
And just looking at a little bit of the statistics from this race so far, Doc, who is actually sitting up in P4, has gained 13 positions since the start of this race.
Wow, wow, wow. And our biggest loser besides whoever left?
Schlitz, yeah, Schlitz took the biggest L today, not being able to see the end of the race. But outside of that, Cameron, who's down in P18, who was, I believe, P4, is the biggest loser at the moment. Biggest winner is actually Donahue. Doc is just the highest on the board at the moment.
Yes.
Donahue up 15 positions from that pit lane start.
An absolute mega comeback, to say the least.
Yeah, and he's got to drive the rest of this race with some damage. So whether he's got the pace or he's struggling, all you got to do is find the last 20 minutes here.
Currently a top 10 for him, so kind of gets my gold star in the book for the time being.
I agree. I 100% agree.
Unless he shoves into the wall again, but you know. We speak for the rise of Donahue, not the fall. Martin Riggs is approaching Space Baker at a decently rapid pace here. All other gaps have kind of come down. Nothing else really happening in the realm of Division 4.
No, and that gap from P2 to P3 up to 20 seconds. So almost an entirety of a pit stop. Almost. Not quite, but almost.
Unfortunate. Not what you want to see, but things do happen. Riggs trying to close this gap to Space Baker. Is succeeding a little bit, about 4/10 faster than Space Baker right now. Smith chilling behind Riggs by about 5 seconds. Let's still have 19 minutes to go as Space Baker got a little wide there, opening the door for Riggs here. Riggs not going to poke their nose down the inside just yet. Space Baker taking it very deep again, out wide. Riggs holding the inside line, is going to go side by side here down into the next turn. Not a favorite turn to go side by side. Riggs does have that inside line. Space Baker taking the outside, is able to hold that speed and that line all the way through. Riggs will just decide to slot right back in. Turn 9 is coming up. Could make or break your lap here. Both cars getting a relatively smooth exit there. Riggs closing that gap, not by enough to make a dive though, so we'll just stick right there in that Honda. We'll have to wait for the front stretch. It's been going down in your area, Billy.
Just kind of riding on board with Dreebs. He's kind of rapidly getting through these blue flags, so he's not getting held up any bit at all, which is not helping Lorenzo one bit.
Lorenzo seems to be dropping a second back as Space Baker has a bit of an issue there in the penultimate corner, in the penultimate chicane. Lets Riggs right on through. Not the greatest of exits as well in the final turn either. So Riggs might have just gotten this space for free. Good old team happy Honda days.
Happy Honda days.
At least so is able to take that car relatively clean through that turn. Space Baker is still having issues. Unsure what is wrong with them. That gap now grows. So
And we've actually lost 2 more drivers.
Oh no.
We've lost the Landon P.
Oh
Not what you want to hear,
no.
as
not
they are in a
for
tight
Team
battle.
Landon.
And we have also lost, I believe, Mark Recton,
Oh,
as we're down to 22,
he's
along
a
with Schlitz.
big hit.
Yeah, not what you want to hear from the the P squared, the Landon squared,
P squared.
not P squared. Pushing P. Sorry.
So not much else is really happening on track. Smith is trying to make their charge to Spacebaker. Has closed that gap relatively quickly. So we're looking at kind of a last minute shootout here if Smith can keep on the pace. The legendary team Ram Ranch.
Yes. White Scarver off again, turn 3, just entry of turn 3. Let's see if I can catch what happened here. I'm gonna guess he just kind of oversteered a bit.
It's usually the
Potentially
case
got on the curb. Yeah.
Oh, we'll take a look.
Coming in, swings it a little wide, it looks like. Got on the slippery curb there. A little bit of nose damage, but he does actually pull away, so.
A little too much steering input and a little too much gas. I will say Smith is absolutely blazing right now. 55.7, their personal best of the race currently. It's what they just set. Almost 5/10 quicker than Spacebaker right now.
That was 3 seconds quicker.
That is 3 seconds quicker. I can math, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah. We got you.
Thank you.
I.
Pitball Saint here to help you.
No pit boss today.
Scott Smith taking a lot of curb there, especially for the McLaren. He's still about 2 seconds back, but it's 15 minutes to make up this time, and the way it's going, it seems like Scott Smith will catch up in no time. Ruzic is now approaching Brunstra. Battle for P12 will start to break out. Streebs is extending their gap to about 4 seconds, and Anastasi losing time to Lorenzo by 24 seconds now. Now Ruzic coming in on Boonstra. Boonstra going to take the defensive inside line here. Ruzic coming on the outside, not going to be able to get the move done, it seems like. Does go for the switchback, is able to get it done. Boonstra will concede that position, and Ruzic does an amazing switchback to gain P12. Good, clean racing right there. Outstanding move.
Seeing a lot of green right now on the boards.
I do see it's supposed to, the rain is supposed to start lightening up here soon. So look for that as this dry line starts to form a little bit better than what it has been before. Could be the reason why we are seeing Scott Smith starting to close this gap to Spacebaker. It's because maybe their car is a little bit better in the dry. You know, a lot of curb now. Maybe we were just wrong about the curbs. These people are taking all the curbs. Spacebaker going to get held up from a blue flag, it seems. Here in the turn 9, this will slow Spacebaker down by a ton. Actually not going to be able to get a very good exit either, probably. Scott Smith now having a blistering exit coming here, closing the gap to Spacebaker. 3/10. Won't get the move done, but that gap has closed from about 1.3 to 2/10 now.
Wow.
Smith tried to look up on the inside, wasn't going to be able to do it any time. Spacebaker now under a little bit of pressure here. Good news for Spacebaker is that is the McLaren engines. The straights aren't as big as an issue.
No, but it could cause you a little trouble if you don't get this corner right.
That is true. If you don't get it right, that McLaren will be all over you, especially in that slipstream. 5/10 is the gap, so that is enough for the slipstream here. Doesn't look to be doing anything. Scott just choosing to stay on the dry line. Not going to try to push it. We do still have 12 minutes to go. No need to absolutely send it into oblivion. Spacebaker taking a ton of curb now. We do see more and more of the dry line forming. Spacebaker missing the breaking point. That's a very deep dive. Does end up holding it on track, but Smith is just going to close that gap even more. Smith not able to capitalize. Was a little too far away. Just trying to make up that time. This gap seems to be fluctuating a lot. Spacebaker getting a little bit squirrely on the exit coming up here at turn 9. He's having a little bit better of an exit here in turn 9. Does look to be pretty smooth. Smith coming down on the back. Does have the slipstream. 3/10 is the gap right now. Smith poking their nose out. Not going to do it. We'll stay right back in line. Smith probably getting aggravated. Seeing he could have overtaken into turn 9, but not the place you want to do it. How's Streebs doing over there?
Reeves is absolutely sending it right now. He's all over the curbs. He's not taking it easy, that's for sure. He's still trying to gap Lorenzo, although it is at 5 seconds.
Track must be drying up enough to start using these curbs. Scott Smith certainly using it. Coming down here to turn 1.
I have been seeing Lorenzo in the background kind of weaving into the wet line. I think tires are getting a little warm at this point.
Yeah, that's probably goes for a good bit of people, Spacebaker included. Scott Smith trying everything in their power to get by. Is going to make the dive up on the inside. No contact yet. Is still holding the inside. Spacebaker holding the outside. Does look like Smith does have the speed here. We'll have the inside for the next turn. Spacebaker coming back on the outside. Can they hold the speed? They do not. There's collision. Smith goes sideways. Spacebaker off. And there is contact with Shepard now. Having to let Donahue and others by. Smith turned around 180 on track. Unfortunate turn of events for that. All that work cannot help that we are not racing stewards and cannot comment.
No, we're just the entertainers for this evening.
Farrell trying to make a comeback here. Rob Ashard. All over the curbs. This track must be drying up enough if drivers are starting to use these curbs confidently. You have Cameron yellowed here, hard into the wall. Penultimate corner.
Oh, he is. Yeah, he is not in a good place.
Too much inside curb. Couldn't hold it, and we have a issue on stream.
Uh-oh.
Everyone hold for a little quick fix right now. Direct your attention down to the picture-in-picture window. We watch Donahue go down the main straight in the turn 1.
Donahue's just chilling. He's just trying to find the end of the race here. He's not really making much gap here on, or he's not making up this gap on Spacebaker, but P8 currently. P25 to P8 is very good race.
Still better than where he started.
Exactly.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. And Doc actually has been on the move, has made up this 3-second gap to Anastasi for the final podium spot, is now down to about 9/10, almost a second.
Very interesting. Keep an eye on that. We are back on the main screen now, though.
Boo. I mean, yay.
See the battle for Doc. Yeah, Stasi in your picture right now on your main screen watching Farrell and Robichard. Little battles are starting to form everywhere here, starting to close the gaps a little bit as people's setups coming in or out of the race. Schaefer coming here on Scusa, closing the gap relatively quickly here. Scusa seems to be struggling. It's a good turn 9. Doesn't look
Oh! No! Doc just absolutely misses the braking point at turn 1 and drifts all the way around into the wall.
Unfortunate turn of events as Schaefer is going down the inside of Scusa. We'll get the move done. Scusa went too wide, so that position will be to Schaefer.
Doc losing a few positions here. I think he's down to P6.
He is, as unfortunate.
The pressure got the best of him.
That will happen from time to time. These people are just humans. We are not robots.
Unless your name's Landon Dreebs.
Unless your name is Landon Dreebs. And you are physically a robot.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Justin's now closing the gap to Shepard here. Not by a ton, but we can physically see that the rain has lightened up now. Not just by lap times, but this dry line starting to form. Justin in the grass does a good job at holding the car together, though. And Shepard taking that corner very deep will actually allow Justin to go right through. So what turns in from a mistake from Justin turns into a position gained because Shepard not able to hold that braking point. So Justin's back and getting all out of sorts there. Surprisingly able to hold this car still.
He's been fighting that thing all night.
Not an easy thing to do in the big BMW.
No. Not what you would expect either.
No.
The BMW is usually pretty planted.
Is maybe some in the wet here, not helping it out here.
Could be also out driving the car potentially, but
we're also in low fuel mode state essentially for everyone. We're about 4.5 minutes left, so cars are starting to lighten up, which might not be used for the drivers. Used to driving the big 90-liter tank. Now we're down to like 10 or 12.
Hopefully.
Unless you've done your math completely wrong.
Yeah.
Justin will sit P9 now. Looks to be gapping Shepard for the time being. Farrell is approaching Robichard. Try to get that P15 spot, but currently doesn't look to be having it. Bad exit. Now that turn, and Anastasi behind them approaching. Blue flag is starting to get waved. Anastasi had a great exit out of turn 9. Farrell does not look keen on letting Anastasi by, though. Neither does Robichard. Robichard taking that turn very slow. As that gap closes faster and faster and faster. Farrell going a little deep. Losing a bit of time to Robichard. Anastasi just wants out of this mess. This will turn bad. Back end kind of getting a little bit out there, not too much. Farrell does dip off the racing line to the side, lets Anastasi through. Will Robichard let him through, though? That will be a no. So more to come from that battle. Anastasi gets by Robichard, but for the time being, Farrell can just follow. What's been happening the rest of the way off our screen?
Oh boy, not a whole lot to be honest. A lot of big gaps, especially from P2 to P3, 32.5 seconds. Dreeb's just been kind of cooking away at Lorenzo here, and I think Lorenzo's kind of just settled for P2 here.
I think there's a lot of people settling.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off there.
No, never do it again.
As we do have a yellow flag of White Scarver
Oh,
sitting
no.
perpendicular on the track.
He's had a rough night.
He has had a rough night.
Missed the brakes.
Over braking a little too hard, downshifting a little too fast will cause that spin right there.
It's that desperation trying to slow the car down just in time, but a little too much, a little too late.
The leader is on the final lap now. And Farrell has closed the gap to Robichard again for this P16 spot. So they will have one more lap, one more time across the line to get this position back. Everyone else does seem to want us to just stay there. Ruzic now closing the back gap to Smith. And up here, turn 9, Smith does get a good exit. Ruzic looks to be copying, getting the same. Not too different here. We'll just slot right back in line. I believe Lorenzo is ahead of Smith. It could be a massive team play here where Lorenzo just absolutely blocks up Smith, but that would be unsportsmanlike conduct.
I don't know, we were playing football.
This gap's starting to stretch. Dreeb's an absolute masterclass of driving today in your picture-in-picture window.
Flawless.
7.7 tenths is the gap. We'll glitch through the floor.
Happens from time to time these days.
Yep.
Here he comes. Landon Dreebs.
Smith is also approaching Shepard now for a top 10 finish here. Dreebs will cross the finish line and be your race winner. Congratulations to him. Sideways down the track he goes.
In style.
In style.
Lorenzo, P2.
Enjoy that win as we are still watching racing happening. Smith, Shepard, Smith, and Ruzic all here in a battle. Shepard trying to keep it clean, but Smith is all over the back, applying that pressure a little bit. Ruzic waiting for any mistake that happens from either of these two drivers. All over the curb is every single one of them. Smith running a little extra wide. Ruzic taking the inside. Smith down on the inside.
Collision.
There's contact. Ruzic spins out. Smith is taking to the gravel. Will end the battle with Shepard. Ruzic might have been a little over ambitious on the dive. I don't think Smith saw it coming, to say the least. That battle might fizzle out. Smith did not get a good exit here onto the back stretch. Have to be a extreme major overtaking move for any kind of change to happen. Donahue not going to be able to catch Space Baker. Looks like Space Baker will finish 7th. Donahue finishing P8 from P25. Gonna have to talk to him.
Well done.
Ken, congratulations to our race winners, Dreebs and Air. Dreebs winning the gold, Air winning the silver in P4. Smith is able to hold off Ruzic after that gnarly collision together. We have someone off in the background behind Boonstra. I believe that is Kevin Unda. Also finish. Scusa, the last car to round us all out. And put
Last car on the lead lap.
Put week 6 in the books.
How exciting.
Very exciting. Very exciting, eventful race for a wet race, to say the least. Did slow up a little bit in the end, but, you know, that's okay. It happens.
It is okay.
See if we can get our boy not Donahue. We'll get Donahue later.
Mr. Dreebs.
Mr. Dreebs. Where is he at? Step on up, Dreebs. Join the chat. Oh, there you are. Good points for his team as well.
Yeah, with the unfortunate disappearance of his teammate.
Sadly. Landon Dreams, you have won the Barcelona
Green?
race overall.
Oh, what's up,
Good,
guys?
good
What's
points for your team.
happening?
Man, I am so happy right now.
Bro, you were on a league of your own.
Yeah, and fair enough to Lorenzo. He was there the whole way, but this is a bit of redemption from Masano. He dominated that race, won the whole thing. And he was right there again this time, but I guess we just got lucky. It was a fun first lap there. I honestly didn't even expect to go for that move. I was just sort of gonna dummy him a little bit, and then he left the space open, which is good racing by him. But as soon as we got past him there, I was like, I got one mission, that's to check out.
Yep. And you did absolutely that.
Yeah, it was great. The 2 weeks helped for sure. I was able to put in quite a bit of time. It was a lot of sleeping and then a lot of practicing. With these rain races, it's hard to tell what your pace is, just because the sessions all vary, right? But there was like 2 days to go before, I think it was a Monday or something, and I got in a session with a bunch of D1 guys, and I was like kind of with them. Now they were probably on race pace or something, and I was on quali, but like it gave me confidence, and I was like, maybe this is possible. But we learned from the last couple of times. The cat was firmly locked away in the room. I was on Do Not Disturb on Steam. The window was already opened beforehand. So we took care of all the distractions, and it paid off.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you had a little math issue at SNET, didn't you?
That's right. Yep. And
Yeah.
you know what? I had a calculator this time.
There you go.
to coach. I still have the tab open over here. It told me the right number, and you know what? It worked out great.
There you go.
Preparation is the key in races like
Yeah.
these. Absolutely blowing away the competition. I thought you were going to give it away there. You didn't have the greatest start off the line. But
Yeah, well, that was my first time ever pole. This is my second only ever like rain race, and so I was just totally lost and confused. First, I think this is my first multiplayer win ever in ACC. I'm just like a drift kid from Assetto Corsa. I don't really know what I'm doing with these grippy boys, but we're having fun, and that's all that matters.
whatever
You're
you're
killing
doing, it's working. So keep it up. You're
Appreciate
still in the team battle, and you're still in that
Let's
driver's
go.
standings battle. So hope to see you a little bit more on the podium, and at least in here, at least.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it, guys. Love the stream. Watch it every week, sometimes more than once, because it's just such a good time. Love it all. Appreciate
guy.
you all, what you do.
Appreciate
Guy,
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Later, guys. Take it easy.
See ya.
What a good guy. He watches our stream.
I love it. So do I. No, I don't. Yeah, I do.
Where is, if we can, pull Air? Johnny Air.
Johnny Air, if he's in chat.
He is in chat. I see him. Johnny Air, congratulations, the silver winner of today. How you feeling? I think this is the first time we've had you up here.
Yeah, hey guys, feel really good. I kept it clean most of the time, but at the end there, I almost screwed it all up. I was, me and my partner Anastasi's we have penalties, so I was trying to manage the 10 seconds and my 5 seconds, and I was paying attention too much. I almost screwed it all up there at the end.
Well, good to hold your own there with those two good finishes, both you and Anastasi. That does kind of secure you in the top of the team standings, given that the Landons did not have a good race.
Only one Landon finished with points today.
Yep.
I thought Dreams was out front, no?
He was, but his teammate actually quit before the end of the race.
Ah, that's too bad. Oh, that sucks for
Yeah.
those guys.
Yeah.
Don't give him up.
Yeah.
They'll come back next week.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. And yeah, so I really want to do well this week because I might have to miss a race because of work. So I'm hoping not.
Oh,
So
no.
I really tried to keep it as best I could, keep it as clean as I could today.
Well, you did a great job. You won the silver. Just wanted to talk strategy coming into this. Do you optimize those 2 weeks you've had off?
Yeah, so the first we kind of took the Christmas week off, but we did put some time in. We were in the servers a lot and just kind of hitting up the different conditions. Really wet sometimes. It's felt like this race to me. It seemed like it was just getting wetter and wetter as it went on. So my tires were a little overinflated, but as it went in, it kind of came into the race, so that worked out. So we kind of had a couple of scenarios set up for how the race was when it was going to start, and just went with it.
Well, great to hear, and hope to see you back up here a little bit more. Try to extend that gap in team standings and possibly get yourself a little bit higher in the driver standings.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That's the goal.
We'll hope to see you back here next week. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate what you guys do. It's great. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then I am looking for our boy Donahue, because I want to talk to him on this.
Yeah, I told him to get into a chat, so watch out for him.
Can't find him anywhere.
Mr. Donahue.
Donahue.
No. He is down in race chat too.
Is he?
Yep.
He is. I can't see. Hold on, let me change my glasses.
You have multiple pairs?
I will take as many pairs as I need.
Oh, okay.
But the person who doesn't need pairs is John Donahue. Redemption from the Fall of Donahue, coming from P25.
Yeah, it feels good. Finally, Rise of Donahue returns.
Episode 2.
Episode 2.
It was a great race. We were honestly keeping kind of tabs on you, even though if we weren't saying it constantly, we were keeping tabs, see where you come. We didn't think you'd end up top 10, at least.
Neither did I, honestly. I'm not going to lie. My goal out of the gate was top 15. I was like, I'll be happy with the top 15. Then I got to 15th, and that's when I saw a message from Fiery Henry pop up in the top that says, top 10 or don't come home. I'm like, okay, top 10 it is.
That's one way to motivate. Was there any kind of strategy coming into this race, knowing that you had a pit lane start, that kind of affected you over the 2 weeks that we've had off?
I did a lot of race simulation practice. So I just did as many race pace laps as I could in a row. And then when it came down to the pit strategy, I was going to dip in the first 30 seconds like I did at Misano a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. But since that didn't work very well last time, I was like, I might wait a minute and then drop in.
Good on the strategy. Good to keep it alive. Hope to see you back here, except for other reasons other than comeback driver. Good showing to put on that straight hot lapping does not always prove to be the best thing.
Yeah, I had a couple of Code Brown moments. I don't know if you caught the. You did catch it on camera.
We saw some damage.
The one off that I had.
Yeah, right after you came out of the pits.
Yep.
And that.
I was like, what's even better is in the pit lane as I'm driving out. I'm like, all right, I got this. Second half of the race, let's go. And then about a half a lap later, it's like, shit, that's a wall.
Yep. We caught all of it.
Yep.
Oh, that was 4K. Priceless.
Well, hope to see you back here, except leading the race next time.
Oh yeah.
So.
Give me season 6. That's what I'm aiming for.
Season 6. No, we need it now.
That'll be season 2 of the Rise of Donahue. Right now it's season 1.
Okay. Redemption season in season 2.
Redemption season.
He's setting himself up good. Well, enjoy the rest of your night. Hope to see you here next week, except winning the races.
Thank you. You guys have a great one.
You too, bud.
And that will round out our week 6 at Barcelona.
You know what they say? Spain, but without the S.
We're living in a constant set of pain. But you know what's not? The entire... I blinked.
You got this.
The entire community of SRA. My brain just stopped working. If you're enjoying what you see here, you actually want to be a part of the fun, head on over to simracingalliance.com. Join the Discord. Join the league. We're a fun group of people. We love talking all day, every day. And we give a lot of helpful tips, coaching sessions, practice races. Everything goes on here if you're looking to improve or just have a little bit of fun. Again, head on over to simracingalliance.com. Join Discord, join everything. But signing off for week 6, me and Bailey, any final remarks?
Well, I'm no grammar police, but I believe the correct pronunciation is Bailey and I.
You're right. Well, that's your only final remark.
We take it.
Leaving from the Brig, I'm Taylor Mahono. That's Bailey Kish. We'll see you next week, week 7.
Arrivederci.